Hello friends, today we team integrated are sharing a known yet infrequently prescribed remedy, Pecten Jacobus, and we are going to present how we came to the remedy through themes of sea remedies and through the understanding of mollusk. So I invite Dr. Aditi to present her case.
Thank you, Kushala. And we'll go to the case. Just allow me to show you. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, yeah. So we are friends. We are going to I'm going to describe two cases of Pecten Jacobaeus. Case one. Uh, yeah. See, this is a 62-year-old lady. She came to me with the complaints of acidity, burping, and this burning stomach and abdomen. And her complaints were getting aggravated by empty stomach, heat, evening 6 to 7 p.m. aggravation, and she was better by sweets. Then she said that something happens to me. I said, describe your feeling. What is happening to you? Then she said, something happens to me. I feel very uneasy. And it leads to like, I feel so uneasy that I get the urge to pass the motion. That time, and that time, there is also trembling of the hands and body. I always keep something with me to eat or drink. I feel very scared because I don't understand what's happening to me. What if I fall down? Then she said, I also have asthma since many years. There is asthma is always aggravated because of some or other kind of mental stress if I'm passing through, some emotional stresses I'm passing through, or there is overload of work, exertion. And what happens in your asthma? I get lot of wheezing sounds are there in the chest, and at that time I feel very thirsty. Other complaints, she's getting lot of muscle tightness, facial muscle tightness. She feels that tongue feels very tight now. And she told me that these I have told to so many doctors, but nobody is understanding. They are saying that how can that happen, but she says that my tongue becomes very tight. I feel that my tongue is becoming tight, and I have to tell my mind to relax my tongue, my jaw muscles and all. And when I feel tightness of my tongue, I have to lift my feet in order to relax my tongue. No doctors are understanding this. My grip is also very tight. My muscles of the palms are very tight, and I have lot of clenching of teeth, and because of that my enamel is also corroded, and I need to undergo lot of teeth treatment also. And there is grinding of teeth also, and as a result enamel has worn off. Also there is lot of urine frequency and difficult to control also. And she is also known case of hypothyroidism on low dose of thyroxine since many years, and she also has hyperlipidemia. Now her life space, she is living with husband. They have settled in US since last 20 years. Before they were in India. One son also used to live with them, and now he had separated 3 years back after his marriage, and she has a grandson. Then she said, separation of the son was a big shock for me. I never thought about it. I felt that in US it is very common. Now in India also it is becoming commoner. So I thought that why did you feel so shocked? But yeah, that is what her feeling was. That she said, yeah, but then also I felt very shocked. I never thought that he will separate from me. We have a big house and everything, so I never thought that way. So these are the important points. Please take note of it, how we came to this remedy. She is very sensitive, lot of attachment to son, very secretive. Like she said that I'm very close to my sister. I talk about everything, and I need to take their advices also constantly in all sphere of my life, and that. And but when then I said, oh, are your sisters also in know-how of, or and they know that you have passed through so much of trauma and shock because your son separated? She said no, that is my personal thing, that is very personal. So I would not never share my emotions, this kind of emotions, with anybody. So that kind of closeness, and that otherwise she's a very simple person. And about her other sides of the nature and all, she is very confused. When you ask her anything, most of the time she said, I don't know, I am not aware of it. Most of the time unaware of anything and everything in the life. Then spiritual inclination is there since last few years. Then about her work area and all, I was just inquiring. She said, I like to go out and work. There is no need for me to work in any way. We are just two of us. We are financially very well off. But it is just that I need to go out and work. I said, why you want to meet people and all? She said, no, no, I don't like to meet many people or friends or anything, but I just like to go to see outside world, how the world is, how the people are, just like that. I'm not much bothered about look or appearance. Uh, Most of the time, I am in myself. Other aspects about her nature, she is competitive by nature. If she decides something, then she puts in Herculean task, in efforts to prove herself that yes, she can do it, and she can really do it well also. But the amount of efforts she can put in, that is remarkable. Otherwise, she remains very simple and lazy, little bit lazy also. But when the time comes, or if she needs to prove herself, she really can do anything and everything. There is a kind of childlike simplicity and childlike envy in her. Now, this is my observation. I had been observing her since some time and talking to her previously many times. And this is what I had observed, that there is a kind of little bit of naivety, you can call, in her, a kind of naivety, honesty, simplicity. There is not too much of manipulations in her talks or anything. Whatever, if she wanted to hide something, you can clearly see that she's hiding. There is no manipulation, for everything. If she doesn't know something, so most of the time she is very honest and open about that. No, 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 I don't know anything. I can't understand these things. Like very, very honest and open about it. Simple, childlike. There is lot of dependency on sisters, brother, and husband for everything. uh, in her nature, anger plus, lot of irritability, lot of anger, and anger expression also to the quarrel level also. Lot of rigidity. If lot of stubbornness. If something needs to be done in her way, in the way it has been there in her mind, the design is set in her mind, it's very difficult for her to change that. Lot of rigidity, lot of stubbornness. So pointers for me in this case to prescribe are: she is introverted, aloof and secretive. She is very sensitive, lot of anger, infant-like innocence, simplicity, fearful and insecure, confused, in constant need of support, indecisive, secretive, puts in lot of efforts to pull through whatever she wants to do. So these were on her mental aspect and physical aspects: asthma, muscular tightness of the jaws and all, plus caries of teeth, urine frequency, thyroid pathology. So when we see all these pointers together, we see lot of calcarea like security, support, fear, and natrum like secretiveness, aloofness. These themes we saw. Now here calcarea and natrum are coming close, but here we see a kind of little bit of animal energy in her. When the animal energy is seen, when the task is there and she puts in that kind of efforts, there you see animal energy. Then in anger you see the animal energy, the way fiercely they come. She comes to fight, or she comes to protect or prove her point. So there you see this kind of animal energy. Also her emotional trauma with her things happening with her son and all. So there two things came up. One, naivety, like she couldn't make feel, also she couldn't even get the slightest hint that her son can separate. And so a kind of shock and a lot of other things she was emotionally traumatic about the separation. So in this case, my journey was animal kingdom, then sea remedy features, aloofness and all those things, mollusk, water and fire element, and Pecten J. Now these themes and all will be taken in detail in course of further lecture by our other team members, and so you will understand that more. Now we will go to the second case. This is a 50-year-old female, short, thin, delicate looking, asthma since the age of 18 years. She has come to me at the age of 50 years. She had taken lots of homeopathic medicines from many different homeopaths, but never could get the relief. Breathlessness round the year, difficult inspiration, thick, sticky white discharge, expectoration, irritability due to shortness of breath, aggravation 3 to 4 a.m. She is taking Seroflow or Asthelin inhaler 4 to 5 times a day since a long many years. And she developed osteoporosis due to prolonged use of Seroflow. And that is why now she has changed to Asthelin as much as possible. Associated complaints. She has dry, rough patches on the sternal region, skin patches, which are very itchy, scratchy. And she also had history of eczema on the legs in the past. About this, she has urge incontinence, frequency of urine plus, and frequent soiling of clothes because of the incontinence. Drops of urine escapes involuntarily. And then she has constipation since childhood, and now it has aggravated since 3 months. Incomplete evacuation feeling, hard and sticky stool, and there is history of threadworms in the childhood and the past. Her other concern was, my height is reducing. My present height is 4 feet 9 inches, and but my height is reducing. Now height is reduced. I said, why height is reducing? I've got osteoporosis. My spine bones are shrinking, and my vertebrae are shrinking, and I am reducing in my height. Then she said, pain in the nape and side of the neck since 2 years, and lot of tightness. When she was talking to me also, I could sense that tightness. And then later on, when she came to visit me, I saw there is lot of tightness in the muscles. And she is better by chin tuck exercises. Then there is left knee pain since last 10 years. Aggravation flexing the legs, better by stretching the legs. Then pain back since last 4 years, more in the lumbosacral region, radiating from lumbar to the left leg. There is tingling and numbness in the left leg. Then hyperpigmentation on the left cheek since last 3 years, menopause since last 3 years, and hot flushes. In her life space, it was living with the husband and daughter. She's living at present with husband and daughter. Patient is a housewife. Too much workload. Daughter is not helping me at all. This was the case taken during the first lockdown phase of COVID. And so it was taken on a video call only. And because there were that time no house helps or anything available, she was going through lot of work stress and all. And that time also she was telling that daughter is so some 26, 27 years, but still not helping me at all. What is the stress? I said, there is no growth. Life is stagnant. I want big house. I want to see the world. But money is problem. I want to earn, but I can't. I am just become. Now this is a 50-year-old woman talking. We have to keep that in mind. Working woman has more value. I am not successful. My health doesn't support me. Okay. Then what else? My husband, he is very lazy. He is not successful in his business. He is not smart, not a smart fellow. He talks very less and even lesser with me. Daughter, she is doing MBA. She doesn't like to work. She is lazy. So husband is lazy, daughter is lazy. We will go further. And I can't work because I can't get the work. I am just become. Now we'll go further. What about family and friends? Friends, they don't value me. They hide things from me. They neglect me. They backbite behind me. Okay. Siblings, I have two brothers and one sister. One brother passed away in accident at the age of 24 years. When I was in college, I was very close to him. When she was describing this, there were tears in her eyes, but it never rolled down. She controlled it. No good rapport with my other brother and sister. Sister is not truthful with me. Parents, I am very close to my mother. She is my life. Father was very strict. He died due to diabetes mellitus and resultant chronic renal failure. Tell me something about your childhood and adolescent phase. I was very weak and delicate child, not strong at all. I was very close to my mother and the brother who passed away. But my mother was always busy. I could never share my emotions with her. This is very important. Brother passed away when I just entered in the college. That was a shock. Patient in tears, but not rolling down while talking about it. Fear of father plus plus. He was very strict. He wanted me to study. He was strict for studies. But I had very luxurious life then. We were very sophisticated people. I was very pampered as a young. I was youngest in the family. What else? Marriage. Yeah, my marriage changed my life entirely. Here, finances were not so good. I didn't want to marry this person, but I could not say only anything. Social pressure. It was a wrong decision, but I could not break the engagement or marriage. I remained in it. I was working before marriage for 2 years. After marriage, I didn't work. I said, why? Husband didn't allow me to work in his office. Okay. Husband didn't allow you to work in his office, but you could have worked outside because you were already working. Yeah, but who will give job to BCom? I am just a BCom graduate. Okay. Your nature. She has always been very shy. She could never express her emotions. Would fear of being ridiculed and insulted. Don't like if people ignore or talk roughly with me, I feel very bad. I feel like dying. If people ignore me or they talk roughly, I feel like dying. Generally, I feel a lot of inferiority. I keep on thinking. And then randomly she added one sentence. Nobody even taught me cycling. Now, at the age of 50, when she is giving me her nature and her history, see what all things are coming out from the mouth. I feel all are selfish. I am angry and irritable by nature. I'm very short tempered. I shout when I am angry. Very other aspects of her nature, very religious. Lots of fasting and temple visits daily. Doctor, I'm too much worried about my height. Every single day I pray to God, what have I done that this is happening to me? I said, what is happening to you? My height is reducing. I tell the God, please don't reduce my height. As such, I am very short. And now don't reduce my height further. I'm worried for health too much. Any other fears? No, I don't have any other known fears. When I say known fears of any darkness, ghost, height, water. She said, no, I don't have any known fears. So here in this case, the pointers were shyness, timidity, lot of touchiness. Who says I am going to die if somebody talks rough with me or somebody ignores me? That much of touchiness, lot of sensitiveness, lot of grief. A brother has passed away so many years back. Now patient is 50 years. She's youngest. Her brother has passed away almost 25, 30 years back. Just mention of it and tears in the eyes. So sensitivity, anger and irritability, ambition for luxury, money, but no capability. Constantly projecting own weakness on opposite person. She had problem with everybody, family, friends, brothers, sisters, except mother, everybody. But with mother also, she didn't have time. So practically she has issues in dealing with any and every relationship. And also her physical complaints, asthma, musculoskeletal, this lumbosacral joint, back pains and tinglings and numbness, osteoporosis, involuntary urination, lot of sticky discharges. She mentioned sticky discharges at two places, one at the expectoration level and another at the stool level. So here also Calcarea and Natrum theme were running through and through. So here my journey was animal kingdom, invertebrate. I didn't find any strength in her in any way to run the life. Water element, because of this involuntary urination and asthma and secretions and all. So mollusk remedies, bivalve, fire element, and Pecten J. So now we will study it further, how in detail to understand how these cases justify Pecten J through detailed understanding will be given by Dr. Anita and further Dr. Shobha and Dr. Nirupama. So thank you, friends.
Okay, friends. Now we heard two cases by Dr. Aditi, where the theme of, animal came, in the second case specifically, it was very prominent where this lady had problems with each and every one. Daughter was lazy, husband was lazy, not a go-getter. He couldn't be successful in his business. Then she was not comfortable with other brother and sister. She could not trust her sister. So there were issues with everyone. So if we, try to understand the language of patient and the tone of the patient, where, person is pointing to others or blaming others, there is a theme of me versus others. So the the root cause of my suffering is others. And they also compare, compete, and there is hierarchy. So there is victim aggressor, like why they are suffering, because others are exploiting them, they are abusing them, and there is also projection that they are, whatever weaknesses the patient has, it is projected onto others. Like they are not helping me, because of that I'm supportless and I'm suffering. Then there is a feeling of being dominated. Emotions are complex. Like in second case, if you specifically see, there was grief also, there was anger also, there was mistrust also. So there was not one particular sensitivity, it was everywhere. So complex emotions and complex stories. In the first case also, that competition, was there. Like need was not there, but still she wanted to go and work. She wanted to prove herself, and she was putting in a lot of effort to do that. So if you see, all these things point to animal theme, where plant is sensitive and mineral is more about their performance or the structure. They are more organized, so there will be one issue. Sensitivity in plant sensitivity also, you will get one, they are sensitive to something, and the opposite of that. So you will get those two polarities. Now in animal kingdom also, you can get source language or gestures, depending on, like if it is lack, then they can talk about something about the animal itself, roaring like lion, or like a cow also, they feel abused, maternal instinct. So something of the source language will be there. It can be about habitat where they are living, like about nature, about mountains, about water and all that, about the defenses and the adaptation of that particular animal. So there will be some similarities in that. Now, once we come to animal kingdom, then we think which animal it can be. Shobha, next slide. So in these two cases, when we are seeing, there is a lot of incapacity. They themselves are not able to do much. Like the second case said, I'm just BCom, I can't get a job. Then she has desires, but she wants other people to fulfill those desires. And that is why her, anger on husband is because he is not successful enough to provide enough for her. So these animals are weak animals and they are dependent. They want support structure. And when that type of support is not there, there is anger, irritability, frustration, and disappointment. Like the first case was totally, shattered after the separation from son. So they need a lot of support. So it has to be a small animal which is weak. And we also see the hiding, secretive aspect of that. So if we think further, and also water element was very strong. So if we think further, we come to some sea remedy because of the water element and because of the small, a weak animal. So we see sea remedies, main theme is sea is transitory. Sometimes there is high tide, sometimes there is low tide, sometimes there is storm, sometimes the sea water is quite calm. So there is, a lot of transitions, transitory, shapeless, uncertainty. And because of this, the patient also who needs sea remedies is full of doubt and indecision. So there is no root or there is no solid base. Then they speak in water language like flow, drift, swim, sink. There is affinity for water, water bodies. They like beaches. They like to swim. They have hobbies related to water, like surfing and all that. And they also have unseen threats, because in the sea, what you will come across, you can't predict. There is vulnerability and theme of protection. So they are very vulnerable. They need protection. They always have this fear of being injured, touched, invaded, and penetrated. Now, invaded and penetrated also metaphysically, they express in the form of allergies, where a foreign body invades your body and your body reacts to it. There is a lot of issue of protection, safety. So they have a lot of, they withdraw in their comfort zone, hiding, escaping, contraction, spasms, numb and unfeeling. All these are defenses. Then these people can have a lot of relationship issues. Like, Natrum has. So Natrum line is seawater, salt. So lack of trust. There is a lot of problem in communicating and connecting and being intimate with people. So that security of relationship is not there. Problems with family, partner, and children. They have a lot of disappointments, hurt on small things. Their issues are small. Like this second patient said, because of hurt, I feel like dying. So they get offended with trifles. There is a lot of grief. They feel isolated, forsaken, and misunderstood, which is also a theme of Natrum. There is a lot of need for privacy or their own space and fear of intrusion. Nobody should intrude in their space. Most of the sea remedies, they pass through inhibition because they want to hide. They have poor self-image. There is a lot of guilt and shame. Immaturity, dependency. Then there is again a problem of nurture. Hence the relationship with mother. Again the theme of Natrum. Lot of allergies. There is confusion related to sexual identity because lot of early, when early evolution animals, they have ambiguity. So in the beginning of their life cycle, they can be male and then they become female. They can be hermaphrodite. So always there is this confusion of sexual identity. Then issues related to movement. So primitive animals, they are more resistant to changes because change needs adaptation. And they don't have that much capacity to adapt. They remain fixed, anchored, especially if we see we will be coming to the mollusks. So earlier mollusks, they are very static. They remain anchored on rocks. Only the floating movement of water is there. Otherwise, there is no movement. And as they evolve, then there is movement. And then they want to move, and that restlessness comes like when they go to the cephalopod, they like to move, and movement is one of the defenses. So sepia has better by exercise, better by running, better by dancing. So sepia also will come in comparison with these remedies. Then there are body affinities, hormonal issues they suffer from, glands, especially thyroid. Again, Natrum also has it. They have affinity for testes, heart, and lungs. Like in these two cases, we are seeing the affinity towards lungs. There is water and element, so there can be water retention, there can be dryness, there can be urinary issues, incontinence, frequency of urine, skin allergies like itching, burning, and stinging. Then there can be sensations of floating up and down. And they are high-spirited because they are floating. Next. Now, after we come to the water element, then we see what is the theme of mollusks. So mollusks are basically within the shell. They are the most primitive animals. So they were protected in water, but they also formed a shell around their soft jelly-like body for their protection. And they used to be retracted inside. So when we start with the evolution, bivalves are completely, they are tightly closed. They hardly open. And the two, these shells are also stuck to each other with the strong glue. So as they evolve, little bit of mobility, little bit of floating, little bit of coming out of the shell starts. So main thing is outer world and inner world. The outer world is threatening and inner world is suffocating. So vulnerability when exposed to the outer world, retreating to the safety of the shell, but feeling claustrophobia within the shell. So you will also get this type of gestures like in and out, freedom, restriction. They want to come out, but they feel restricted inside the shell. Opening and closing hand gesture like in hemimility. Their body is soft, jelly-like. They have a muscular foot which is tethered, which is used for digging inside the ocean bed to get anchored there. So within the shell, they feel isolated, caged, imprisoned, enclosed, secluded, separated, and disconnected from the outer world. Shell is like an armor for their protection, and how it is broken by the predators or by human beings for their, flesh, breaking, cracking, fragmenting, disintegrating, hammering. So you will get all these words in their description. They are always, they want that security of the house. Their shell is like their house. So they need that security. Being primitive, they are confused, absent-minded, difficulty in thinking. So they are not smart enough to adapt to different environments or to progress ahead in their life. There is emotional stasis in form of like, again, psychosis, or in Natrum, how there is brooding. They brood over one issue. There is indifference like sepia. So sepia is a mollusk which is, representing the mollusk remedies. So in comparison, we can compare with Calcarea. We can, for the task of security, and with Natrum because of their emotional vulnerability, and sepia also because of their indifference and estrangement. I think that's all from my side. I will invite Shobha to talk about the particular remedy Pecten Jacobaeus.
Thank you, Anita. So, hello friends. Let us understand Pecten Jacobaeus. Pecten Jacobaeus is a remedy from the animal kingdom. It belongs to Bivalvia mollusca, and it is prepared from the animal scallop, from the trituration or the tincture of this animal. It is a very good remedy for the humid asthma. For quick labored breathing, patient cannot lie flat or on left side. There is a constriction of chest, especially right side. The asthma attacks are preceded for 2 to 3 days by sneezing and excessive coryza. There is a burning sensation in throat and chest and fullness of head. The pulse is very quick and wiry. There is copious expectoration of tough, stringy, and frothy mucus. The cough is aggravated after 6 p.m. and at night. Pecten Jacobaeus is similar to Calcarea and Natrum because of its connection with the shells and sea. If we see miasmatically, then it is a predominantly antipsychotic remedy, both physically as well as mentally. So what we see physically is the humid asthma, the tics, bedwetting, numbness of extremities, muscle spasms, cramps, and the tightness of the temporomandibular joint. The tightness of this jaw is like, how we see in the bivalves and in the scallop is that it has the two half shells which are like connected like a hinge box, which so that is how it has the correlation and connection with the jaw, and that is why it is a good medicine for it acts very good onto the tightness of the jaw. Even mentally, if we try to see, then we see the theme of like confusion and unsurety versus the confidence and show off. So the scallop is the most evolved bivalve, and it is the first bivalve which has the ability to move. Whereas the earlier bivalves like clam, mussel, oyster, they have very little movement. Now, surprisingly, the scallops are the fast swimmers, and thus we can see hurry and haste in the pecten patients. But when it moves forward and comes across adverse situations, it withdraws. It feels nervous, suffocative, and claustrophobic. Similarly, the patient is very weak from within and not really able to do things on his own. The way we know that all mollusks are weak from within. So even that is what is seen even in the pecten patients. But to hide their inner weakness, they want to show the bold front through their projections, through their facades, and he wants to show himself being very strong person. So if we see the patients, they will also come and present to us with the big talks like how good I am. He will boast himself. He is proud about his own self. He will show himself having a good skills and the good abilities. He wants to believe himself very strong and capable enough, and thus he doesn't want to depend on others for his safety. So we see in the patients also, this quality of stubbornness, dictatorial, and the obsessive qualities seen. Like the patient always wants to prove himself in the difficult situations. He takes up a continuous challenges, like as if he is obsessive about it. He works for his weakness. He masters it, and he feels proud about it. But he cannot take up multiple challenges, else he suffers. They work towards one thing. They are totally engrossed in it, and they are obsessively they work towards it. How we saw in Dr. Aditi's case also, that her patient also was doing a lot of had put in a lot of Herculean efforts to do the things and to overcome her weakness. So similarly, these patients try to do that. And if they are unable to achieve, then he feels inadequate, unsure, and he doubts his own self. Thus, in some patients, we see reluctance, and in some, determination and capabilities to do. Also, in Pecten Jacobaeus, we see the shades of anger and desire to break things. And if this anger is suppressed, it is expressed through spasms and tics. The children are seen bullied in the school because of their weakness from inside. They are weak because of their qualities of weak, being vulnerable. They have fear of being injured. They have tendency to withdraw and hide. And in some patients, we also see the other side of the pecten. Like, they are very polite, they are nice, and they are perfect people. And also, they are sensitive to pain and order, just like the invertebrate. It is an invertebrate quality. So with this, friends, I would like to invite Dr. Nirupama to integrate and to share her understanding about the pecten.
Thank you, Shobha. So now we know the mollusk theme, we know the water theme, and we know the invertebrate theme. So how to differentiate scallop from other bivalves? So if you see, mollusk in general have very strong anal quality. They're very toddler. They want to do something. But when it comes, see, initial stages where there is Venus, oyster, they're weak toddlers. They're extremely weak. They withdraw inside. But the scallop is last in bivalve, which has capacity to move forward. So they're very strong. They have very strong anal quality in scallops. They like to prove themselves. And when they're not able to prove, their whole frustration come out on others through the projections, like how patient is saying, my husband is lazy, he's failure, my daughter is lazy, she's not doing anything. Uh, I want to work, but who will give me work? I'm just the BCom. This is all, this is the way she's saying I'm incapable, but she's not accepting that, but she's saying I can do it, but I'm BCom, that's why I'm not getting the opportunities. So basically, if you see bivalves, the energy is more into withdrawing, going inside the safe shell. That they're very much the theme of home and mother will be there. Slightest things, the trifles affects them. They go in with lot of fear, palpitation, anxiety, tremors. But when it comes to scallop, because it's last in bivalves, it fights the fry. They want to fight it. They don't want to show themselves weak. They want to work on their weakness. Hmm? So they're older in the bivalve. So they have that fire. That's why they are very stubborn in taking stand. I will do it or I will not do it. Both sides. I'm not doing it. Also, their strong decision. So you see a lot of compulsive behavior that I'm the tough one. I can do it. That is the behavior you see in scallops. Extremely psychotic. All the mollusks are psychotic, but scallop is extremely psychotic. It creates very thick shell around. So it's very difficult to go inside. So what you see is the physical complaint. You see asthma, where there is lot of wheezing, lot of secretion, tough secretion to bring out. Hmm? So lot of physical. That's why you don't get lot of mental symptom here because they develop that strong shell around. Huh? So scallops have very ribbed shell. And if you see, scallops are kept inside the home for the protection. People keep it so there will not be robbery inside. So it's a symbol of protection. It's a strong toddler, want to be tough one. If you see, get the theme of womb, that is water, and then you get the theme of fire through a lot of spasms, convulsions, tics, spasms, asthma, where there is a lot of wheezing you see. So calcarea natrum with anger issues. So typically asthma represents water and fire element. And even you see a lot of osteoporosis, excessive degenerative issues. Hmm? So asthma represents the like humidity, humid asthma, water. Then there is a excessive mucus. Then there is a spasm. So you see the combination of two, hmm, and all other symptoms Shobha has already shared. So if you see, Pecten has very strong toddler side. They are focusing more on what I can do. And if they're not able to do, they take tough stand that I will not do it. That is the way they are represented. That's all from my side.
Yeah, and I'll just share the follow-ups of both the cases. Yeah, in the first case of that lady of 62-year-old, she had been suffering from lot of tightness of the TM joint and also asthma, and she got completely cured. Since last 3 to 4 years, she hasn't got a single attack of asthma, which she was suffering from many years, and her TM joint also is not getting so tighter. Her teeth health has also improved. Enamel eroding and all has also practically stopped. And in the second case, where she has been taking 3 to 4 pumps inhaler over the years, it's been stopped completely now. Since last 2 years, she has not used pump. Very rarely, if a drastic change of weather or something is there, she needs to use. And then again, she comes to me, and now very infrequent visits. And I give her a dose of Pecten, and she settles very well. And her delusion also that her height is reducing, has stopped completely, and she has become more lively and also and less blaming other family members. She has become more accepting and all. So that is follow up of both the cases. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, team. You have done a great job of, showing the travel of the animal energy of the case through the way the patient was projecting their weakness on others. You also showed through the case how less evolved these remedies come, especially the sea remedies and the mollusk in particular, how weak their personalities are, how emotionally vulnerable they are, how every little thing affects them, and how they go in. You have well represented all of you and come to the specific remedy of pectin, not only through the travel of emotional of water and fire, where you are fighting your fright by trying to go into the world, and to the specific physicals of asthma and the tics and the spasms. So thank you, team. Thank you so much. And all our subscribers, please do watch us regularly. Subscribe to us. We would like to share more and more in every sitting of our learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.